Hello, everyone. I'm Toby Blue. Welcome to Proof of Concept.
And I'm Jason Rabinowitz. This show is brought to you by the Tasting Alliance, home to the world's most prestigious and respected spirits competitions, including the San Francisco, New York, Asia, and Latin America World Spirits competitions.
The Tasting Alliance was founded by my father, Anthony Dias Blue, a pioneer who believed true craftsmanship deserves to be celebrated and that passion and integrity should always define excellence. That spirit lives on through the makers we feature here.
In each episode, we share the journeys of visionaries pushing for something extraordinary. Even the word proof, rooted in 16th century tests of a spirit's strength, reminds us that every great idea needs evidence it can work.
But at its core, Proof of Concept isn't just about spirits, it's about spirit. Dreaming big, taking risks, and building something meaningful. From grain to glass to gold, actually double gold to be more precise. These are the stories of trials, tribulations, and ultimately triumph.
So whether you love whiskey, gin, tequila, or simply the power of perseverance, you're in the right place.
This is Proof of Concept.
We dedicate this series to my father-in-law and Toby's father, Anthony Dias Blue, whose passion and pursuit of excellence continue to guide and inspire us.
Today, we bring you a story rooted in vision and resilience, and the belief that luxury and responsibility can coexist. Our guests are Kevin Larkai and Monté Burrow, co-founders of Blackleaf Organic Vodka.
Crafted in Cognac, France, from 100% organic winter wheat and distilled 5 times, Blackleaf is redefining modern premium vodka. And what began as a chance encounter abroad has grown into one of the most decorated organic vodka brands in the world, while remaining founder-led, values-driven, and fiercely independent.
Kevin's path didn't start in distilling. With a background in finance, his curiosity and a meeting with a 5th-generation French master distiller sparked the idea for a vodka that could stand on the world stage while changing how organic spirits were perceived.
And Monté brought decades of spirits industry experience, recognizing in Blackleaf the chance to build something rare, a luxury brand rooted in authenticity, representation, and long-term thinking. And together, their partnership is built on trust, discipline, and the belief that excellence speaks for itself.
Under their leadership and with a stated mission to blend exceptional quality with a sense of cultural pride and purpose, Blackleaf has earned multiple double golds and platinum awards, all top honors at the Tasting Alliance's San Francisco, New York, and Asia World Spirits competitions.
But accolades are only part of the story. From sustainability to mixology culture, thoughtful expansion, Blackleaf has become more than a vodka. It's a platform for change. Blackleaf's success reflects a relentless commitment to craft, proof that when values and execution align, excellence follows.
Kevin and Monté's story is about building what didn't exist before and doing it without compromise. It's about taking risks, breaking barriers, and proving that luxury can be inclusive, sustainable, and enduring. So settle in, pour yourself a glass of something you love, and let's begin. Kevin, Monté, thank you both so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. We need to clip this up and make it our theme music.
I tell you, the glove's good.
I want to meet these guys. Oh, it's us.
Yeah.
So, Kevin, take us back to Cognac, France. Not just the meeting, but the feeling. What told you this was more than just a travel story?
Yeah, it was, so vacation over there, and I was driving down the road, and I met another Black person, which is rare in Cognac, right? So we literally had the head nod moment. We acknowledged and we pulled over. So he came by, and he was like, in a couple of hours, meet me in the town center. So we met him over there. It turns out he was a soccer player, married to a woman from Cognac. So he was almost like a local celebrity, and he owned a restaurant right in the heart of Cognac.
Cool.
He knew everybody.
Yeah.
So he introduced us, and we connected with, this 5th generation, master craftsman. And it was just that light bulb moment where he was coming out with the 50-year-olds. He was how his passion for spirits was something that, was endearing, right? So that's when I was like, okay, you know what? This is, and I've always been entrepreneurial. So just having that moment, I was like, this feels special. I think we should explore further. And that's kind of the genesis. And then obviously, dove into what Blackleaf ended up becoming.
Incredible.
I'm
So at what
curious.
point?
Yeah.
At what point did this shift from inspiration to responsibility, in the sense that the ideas deserve to exist in the world?
Right. And then how did you settle on, let's explore this. There's something here. How did it come to vodka?
Yeah. So I guess even how it even got into the spirit space, what we all know to be true is culture builds brands. Right. If you think about the Hennessy story, if you think about Ciroc, it's made popular through culture, Black culture. But when you think of it from an ownership standpoint, it's crickets. Right. So that was always there, where it's like, if we can consume these brands and make them hot, we can also build them. Right. We can build world-class brands. And now I'm sitting next to somebody who can actually craft it. So then it was like, okay. Right.
Brilliant.
And then in terms of how we got to vodka was, is the easiest one to start with. Right. And we just wanted to do something different because, we believed in organic, sustainable. There were a handful of brands, but the way they did it was boring. Right. It was like organic, put a brown paper label on it, check. Right. And it was like, if you're going through all those lengths, why not also marry it with the premium aspect? So that's kind of how the idea came about.
You saw white space.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So Monté, your turn. You came from the largest spirits company in the world.
Yeah.
What did you see in Blackleaf that convinced you to build something from the ground up again?
I'll answer that by going back to something Kevin just said. So you asked him why vodka, and he said, well, it was the easiest one. And I always laugh at that, right? Because it's not easy.
There's no easy.
Glutted. The marketplace is also glutted.
But I understand the context is you don't have to deal with the aged liquid and some of the other things, right? But to do it and to do it right, it's a lot of work.
Right.
And I always applaud him for not having the background in the space and having the gumption to just do it anyway. So while I was at Diageo, you can imagine I would see brands all the time, whether it was Diageo's brands that we at the time, but they were launching that potentially came to market or didn't come to market. It was always an innovation pipeline. And then there was always people reaching out saying, hey, I have this product I want you to see or taste. And I would get those calls all the time. So I got this call, hey, it's this product, it's this guy, just want you to talk to him. I'm like, here we go again, And so I came by with the product and I looked at the bottle. And I kid you not, I looked at the bottle and the first thing that got me was like, oh, this is different. Caught me at the bottle. And I said, okay, so that means that the liquid is going to be garbage. Because, it's typically nobody gets everything right.
Right.
And I tasted the liquid and I stopped and I tasted it again. I said, this is no, it's not happening. So we started talking and I don't know, it's kind of like, you ever heard the expression, it doesn't take all day to recognize sunshine?
Right.
I felt it right then and there. I'm like, this is special. This is special. But it was a product. It wasn't a brand. And, so, one of the things that got me, I'm very much a feel person. I feel things. I'm an energy person. And he and I clicked. And again, that's also somewhat rare for me to click like that. And it just, I don't know what it was, but I said, something is here. And it didn't happen right away, but over time, I just said, if I was to ever leave the industry from the corporate side and get into it myself, I want to revisit this.
Yeah.
And when that time happened, that phone call happened, there you go.
I love
That's
that.
beautiful.
So cool.
So why was it important that Blackleaf be French crafted, organic, and unapologetically premium from day one?
Yeah, the French part, again, that happened by chance. I always say if I met an Italian craftsman, maybe we'd be talking grappa.
Right. Yeah. Wow.
But it so happened to be there. But what's interesting is the French are known for their craftsmanship, right? In that, especially in that Cognac region, centuries of just perfecting that craft, right? So that lends obviously to the quality. And for us, it's very much, if you're going to do something, do it at the highest level possible.
Yeah.
Right? There's this whole notion of Black excellence. It's really a verb, right? It's something you have to do. If you're going to do it at the highest level of execution. So that's kind of what we wanted to craft and make sure that if we're putting something out there, it can go toe to toe with anything.
That's great. Blackleaf has gone through evolution and reemergence. What did you learn during the quieter, harder chapters of building this brand?
And I have a little note past that question, which is like, what is that story? Like,
Yeah. So, I think Mike Tyson says, like, everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face.
yeah.
So it's, starting out, you're like, hey, the spirits industry, it's going to be a breeze. Let's go.
Right. Yeah.
And you quickly realize that it's completely different, right? It's super challenging. You
Yeah.
have the 3-tier system. Every state is different,
Yeah.
distributors. So, and quite frankly, lack of knowledge
Yeah.
in the space at the time.
Sure.
So it basically it was an idea, but it didn't really become anything. It was just there, and we're having conversations here, but it didn't really take off until much further on, where it was like, okay, let's put some real energy behind it. And then obviously in the spirit of, if you want to go far, right, go. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. This partnership made a lot of sense. So we kind of came together to really forge that path.
That's wonderful.
You had the bottle and the product, though.
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah. Yep.
So you like prototyped it, or you just dove in and like started making it? And
Yeah, no. So we worked with the distillery to kind of craft it, and then we took the bottle design on, and crafted everything and made sure everything was to spec, if you will.
Yeah.
What were the biggest misconceptions you had to overcome from investors, distributors, or even consumers?
Yeah, and I want to go into the distro conversation eventually because I know Monté. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll say the early days, and obviously now the way we think about distribution and it's completely different. But early days, it was first not even knowing how it worked, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh man, I'm just gonna go out there and sell this thing, and then you realize, okay, but you got to do it with a handcuff, right? Because you can't actually go and sell. You got to go work through these people, and then you start reaching out. And, they may not believe in it, right? So it's like, but luckily in DC, you can self-distribute.
Huh.
So that was the path. It was like, okay, let's try that out, right?
Direct to restaurants,
Exactly.
bars. Yeah.
So started that, and that was the most uncomfortable thing. Because, you don't dream of going door to door selling out of your quote-unquote truck, right? Yeah. So it's just doing that. But the beauty of that is you actually get to interact with your consumers and see the feedback, and that the level of belief that gives is just different. Because now you're like, oh, I know it works. I see how they react to it. We've got something here. And then, it's kind of navigating past that to formalize distribution partnerships and, successes, like terrible distributor. There's a whole laundry list of things over there.
Your partnership, as we're witnessing here, you can see the chemistry. It feels deliberate and deeply aligned. How do you divide leadership without dividing vision?
So here's what I'll say. You wear a lot of hats in these roles. a lot of hats in these roles. So I think at the end of the day and the beginning of the day, it starts with respect for each other, right? So before there's a Blackleaf, before there's any business, that's Kevin and Monté. And understanding the people that are coming into this space is is the foundation. So then we start to look at what are our expertise, or what are we interested in, and what are our likes. And it's a fine balance between what we gravitate to naturally and what needs to be done and where's the most efficiency to get it done.
Yeah.
So it's eerily weird that we kind of approach things, and it's natural. It's very natural for us to know who's going to take it on. It's never really too much. No. It's very natural. So, Kevin loves product design. And, so when we look at doing things around potentially upgrading packaging or things of that nature, that's his North Star. He loves to do that, right?
Yep.
He has a finance background.
Yep.
So it's natural for him to get involved with doing some of the finances around the brand. I have a marketing and engineering background, so I know operations, I know marketing, and my heart, my passion is really about connecting with consumers. So there's a natural fit for me to get into that space. But then there's things that we don't like to do,
Yeah.
Right.
but when we need to do them, we get in and get it done. Because at the end of the day, it's about getting it done.
Yeah.
Very complementary skills.
Yeah,
That's
natural
great.
fit. Yeah.
So in moments of disagreement, which you just alluded to, what value always brings you back to center?
I think going back to the respect, right? It's like I never have to question why he's saying what he's saying.
Right.
We may disagree, but I know that he has the brand's best interest at heart.
Yeah.
So it really becomes less of a contentious thing and more of a let me really understand your perspective and, vice versa. So we may have blind spots, right? So it's kind of that curiosity remains versus that dogmatic, oh, this is what we're doing. So it works out in that way. And I think it proves to work.
And I'll add to that. We're intentional about keeping the tension in the room when it needs to be in there as well. Because there are times where if we are both aligned on something, let's
What are
stress
we
test it.
missing?
Right,
Yeah.
right. So we'll bring the tension in intentionally to say, okay,
That's brilliant.
and again, it never derails, but
No,
it's very
that's-
important to keep that tension, especially when we're making big decisions.
Man, the older I get, the more that is like essential to real success.
Yeah.
That is, if everything feels too smooth and easy, something's off, right?
Right.
And a bunch of people have sat where you're sitting and saying, if I'm the smartest person in the room, there's something broken.
Right.
It's important. It's important. I know there are times we'll be talking, and sometimes I'll tell him, hey, let's test it. Sometimes I'll just do it. And I was like, but he's never been like, what are you talking about? I'll be like, no, I don't think this is right. But I'll literally do it just to bring the tension into the conversation, and to make sure that what we're aligned to is actually what we need to be aligned
Right.
to,
Yeah.
and it's proven beneficial for us.
Yeah, no kidding.
Fantastic. So how has building Blackleaf strengthened your relationship beyond business?
Man, I mean, that's a great
Right.
question, and sometimes you're so in the weeds of it, it's almost like you never zoom out. But I think what's also true is we know that we are, I wouldn't even sacrificing, investing the best years of our lives, right? So I think there's there's a business and then there are people. So it's all, being intentional that, okay, yes, right now our focus is the business and the business supports our livelihood and everything. But and then, even through that, there's another person there, right? It's like, it's not just business. Like sometimes it's just passing of information, right? Monté may say, hey, this is, let's say financial literacy or something like that. Oh, you should look into
Totally.
that.
Yeah.
So it's really, yes, we focus on the business, but we all have lives outside of it that we also, kind of encourage and support and all of that as well.
I have a 15-year-old creative partnership, and I know this dynamic inside and out. It's a funny thing, and it's a very specific thing.
Right.
And when it works, it works.
Right.
And
Right.
it's important, like, again, going back to my old job, when I was at Diageo, I was there for about 12 years. And I worked on both sides of the bottle, if that makes sense, right?
Yep.
And one of the most difficult times I had was I was actually on the operations production side, and I was running a plant that was closing. So I had a few hundred employees that reported to me. And you realize very quickly in those moments, I don't care how great of a product you have, it's about people.
Yeah.
Everything was about people. So
Yeah.
when we were going through that closure, I didn't care how great the facility operated. I don't care how many millions of cases we got through. How you doing today? What can I help you with? Thank you for being there. Like, I became plant manager, psychologist,
Yeah.
therapist, and going through that, I'm not gonna lie, at the time I hated going through it, but it's a lesson that I keep with me in my heart to this day. We're not building a brand. We're building something way bigger than a brand, because as we're bringing in new people to work with us, work for us, we're actually building a support system for their families.
Yeah.
And that's what's very important. So that's beyond the bottle,
Oh, that's great. Making organic sexy isn't just a tagline, it's a provocation. What problem were you trying to solve in the spirits industry?
Yeah, it's one, belief in organic and sustainable practices, right? And really, people ask like, why? And I don't know if I have a logical, it was very much intuitive, similar to right now. We all know like AI is going to be all pervasive everywhere. It's undeniable. In a similar way, I felt that, organic and sustainable, that was the future, right? And I'd say the problem we're trying to solve was, again, going back to how it was executed, right? I think people took shortcuts almost because it was like, yeah, let's put a brown paper label and that's it. And it was like, we can go a lot further because we also know a few things to be true, which is people like aspirational things. So why do I need a compromise because I want to do better or make better choices? We want to create something that requires no compromise. If you care only about aspirational things, we've got you covered. If you care about sustainable and organic support, and the environment, we've got you covered as well. And marrying the two kind of creates this phenomenal thing where you're like, check, but all boxes check. I'm doing well.
Yeah, this is your choice.
Right.
And it's not that complicated. If you so the market in me, people pick up the bottle and say, "Ooh, that's sexy."
Right.
It works. They get it.
Yeah.
You get it quickly.
Yeah. No.
Speaking of the bottle,
Yeah.
it challenges industry norms and category norms.
Yeah.
What story were you determined to tell before anyone even tasted the spirit?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's, it's a black bottle, right? When you look at the sea of vodkas out there, it's clear, frosted, black bottle. So that was the first thing. Like, if everyone is zigging, let's zag. Let's go completely different. And then, we still want to show the clarity. So let's dress it up it's almost like a fine tux, right? Let's kind of show it. So really getting those sleek cues out was part and parcel of what we were doing, what we were thinking about with the design.
It's really captivating.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's sexy.
It is, right?
Sexy.
And
denying that.
And think about the name itself. If you were to walk through a forest right now, what would you see? What would you see? A sea of green. Imagine you saw a black leaf in the midst of that sea of green. It stands out, right? It literally stands out. And that's part of that story there, right?
Yeah.
How do you stand out?
Yeah. So how do you define laid-back luxury in a way that feels inclusive, not intimidating?
Yeah. I mean, I think luxury can be very pretentious, right? Where it's like, it's luxury for luxury's sake. And I just think luxury is high quality, it's intention. But we also want it to be very comfortable, right? So that's the spirit of laid back luxury where, again, it could be a Michelin star, white table restaurant. This fits very well there. But it doesn't have to be stuffy.
Yeah.
Right. So that was really the energy behind, laid back luxury and what we wanted to convey with the brand.
Vodka is often dismissed as neutral. How intentional were you about building flavor, texture, and character into Blackleaf?
Wait, and I have an addendum. And how did you do it?
Yeah.
Or if
it's a lot simpler because I wasn't knowledgeable on it, right? So I didn't go in there saying, "Oh, let me get the viscosity and let's get these notes and pepper." No, it was just my vocabulary at the time was smooth, right? So I was like, "Yeah, let me get it more smooth." So we went through more iterations. Like, "Yeah, let me get it more smooth," and then later on, when you even start submitting into competitions, when you start getting more discerning, when you start getting more knowledgeable, do you realize, okay, the mouthfeel, right? The viscosity. Do you realize, okay, the notes of peppercorn, pear.
The finish.
Right.
Yeah,
So, I would say that was obviously intentional from the master craftsman perspective, the person who made it. But from my perspective, it was an added bonus.
And if I could add to that, so even though it wasn't intentional, it was meant to be. So here's what I mean by that. When people going back, I want to go back to his comment again earlier about vodka being the easiest thing. Getting it right is hard. It's very hard. If you think of the vodkas that are out today, and I won't name them, but some vodkas that are out that everybody knows about, they have distilleries and they have processes that they kind of put together in somebody's backyard to get it started. This is a 5th generation distillation house, right? So again, going back to the bottle, the art on the side of the bottle, it looks a bit Art Deco, but if you really look at the side of the bottle, it says 1889, right? That's the year that
I saw that.
distillery was built. So these are master craftsmen that know what they're doing, have been doing it for a long time. So that craftsmanship is part of what you're tasting. So even though Kevin was saying smooth, I wanted smoother, they were dissecting what that meant
Right.
and interpreting that into how can I create something that is very approachable, something that goes with everything, something that is a cut above. So even though he may have unintentionally went that route, it was very intentional.
And he
when
knew
you
what
think
he
about it.
wanted.
Right.
Exactly. And he wasn't getting it, and then he got it by more.
And it
that
wasn't
direction, that
wasn't
direction.
constrained by their preconceptions of what it should have been.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think industry
There's
folks like us, that's where we mess it up. Because
Right.
we try to, you need to dial this in, dial this in. No, I think that organic approach is what made it so special.
It's the same in music.
Yeah. It wasn't overly produced.
Right.
Right.
So we talked a little bit earlier about sustainability, and it's woven into everything that Blackleaf does, from distillation products to glass weight. How do you avoid sustainable becoming performative?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really just, it's part and parcel of what the brand is. So, we make choices that, are even, more costly, right? So it's just something that we believe, and it's part of the ethos of the brand. We're constantly seeking out ways to do better, right? So I'll give you an example. We had different corks, and then our corks manufacturer, they were kind of highlighting innovations that they were doing in sustainability. And we're like, let us know anything new that you're thinking of. And once they told us, it was a little bit more expensive, but we're like, that's part of the brand. We're going to do that. We're thinking about, there's these circular where you potentially even cut out the glass for on-premise, right? So we're always just staying abreast of things and figuring out how to adopt it. So it's not performative in that it's real, and it's really just part of the DNA of the brand.
And a lot of people don't know it unless they ask for it. Maybe to our detriment that we're not telling the story even louder than we are, because not only is the liquid organic, the ink on the bottle is organic ink. You don't see that on the shelf. You don't know that, but we know that, and we know it's better for us, better for our consumers, better for the world, if you will.
Right.
So
It's brand ethos that you carry across everything. It's great.
Jeez.
So Blackleaf has earned double golds and multiple platinum awards across our competitions. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The world's most respected competitions, by the way. What did that consistency mean to you, and just emotionally speaking?
I think for me personally, it was a feeling that we did it right, that we're doing right. Because Kevin and I can talk to you until we're blue in the face about we have something special, a cut above. But to hear from others who have much more discerning tongues and palates than we do, to give that recognition and to,
Platinum
really,
is a big
it's
deal, man.
it's
That's
3 years in a
consistency.
row,
Yeah.
best.
It's a big deal. It's absolutely a big deal. And the reality is, I think both Kevin and I are pretty modest guys, you know what I mean? So we don't necessarily need to walk around with the medal on our chest, you know what I mean? But it's something that we don't take for granted.
Yeah.
When we tell our story to others and they ask what sets us apart, we always bring up those awards from a place of, we went after doing something special and we got an actual compliment that we did something special.
Yeah, that's
And that
great.
story helps us a lot.
Yeah. And I'd add to that, it's real validation for what we see day in and day out from consumers, right? The way consumers react and the way they love it, so to get these accolades to validate that, it's very encouraging, because I think both are super important, right? Because at the end of the day, you want the consumers to fall in love with what it is that they're consuming.
That's the compliment, right? Because validation was the word I could not think of. And you can see.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Was there a moment that made you realize we're not emerging anymore? We're here.
That's a great question.
That
too.
is a great question.
Starred on my card.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, you get so lost in the journey, right? That it's like, all right, we're just focused on navigating and how do we,
Running a
constantly
business. Yeah.
share the story and build it to, being one of the next leading brands, that, you never really take a step back to say we're here. Right. And, if a publicist would probably say you shouldn't be that way, but kind of in the spirit of being humble, it's like we just want to make this thing the best it could be. Right. So at least I'm so zeroed in on that I don't really spend time saying,
Exactly.
We're here. It's
You're
like,
not here yet in your mind. You're still going.
There's so much more to do. But, it's also good to recognize what you have done. Right. So I think in moments like these, that's when you're like, you know what, we've done great. Like the intro, it's like Monté said, who are these guys? So, I think moments like that is when we do remind ourselves that what we've accomplished is phenomenal.
How did those accolades change conversations with distributors and retailers, even international partners?
Well, for one, they want us to put them on all of our POS. So no, that's a
we're
very,
okay with that.
Yeah.
Right, that's a very tangible answer. But I think that credibility, that validation, is being carried and displayed in the context and conversations that they're also having. You know? So at the end of the day, we move the product. We make the sale, but they are advocates for us, and that advocacy through those awards has gotten us into more doors. It is getting us more meetings with people to actually get into more doors as well. It gives us a level of bravado, or when I say us, them being an extension of us, it gives them a bit of a bravado. So when they're talking about a brand, they say, hey, you don't have this on your shelf yet. They just won this. Let me let you. And it's been helpful with really getting the conversations going from we have something to you need to have this on your shelf, and here's why.
That's a great answer. You've made mixologists a core part of the Blackleaf story. Why was it important to invest in bartenders as creators, not just end users?
And how did you engage them?
So, at the end of the day, it's still Kevin and Monté. And what I mean by that is we're people like everyone else. We go out, we consume, we have relationships. We like to be a part of the ecosystem in which we're actually moving product in. And so a lot of it, I think, is around building relationships.
Yeah.
Bartenders in the bartender community, they are the gatekeepers.
Right. They're your best advocate, right?
They are the best advocates, better than they are the brand ambassadors, right?
Yeah.
So if you can get a bartender to talk about you when you're not in the room, you've done something special, right? So again, not to sound cliche, but a lot of what we do is very organic. As we're out and about, we're asking them sometimes, hey, have you tried this? Give us a try. And I don't want to sound boastful, but they always like it. They always like it. So we start to build those relationships, and then they started talking our names in the rooms and spaces that we're not in. And then we start to be more intentional about being around and saying, you know what, this community deserves to be heard. So as we're doing things, we'll bring in different bartenders from time to time, because we know without them, there's no us. So, perfect example, we did a TV show a few months back, and we had a bartender. I'll give her a shout out here, Toby Walton. Toby Walton is a Smithsonian recognized bartender, mixologist out of Atlanta, by way of Zimbabwe. And her cocktails are phenomenal. Right? Matter of fact, I'll go down a tangent for a minute. One of the cocktails that she created was this cocktail that infused pasta water. And you think about it, and when I thought about it, I remember we did a tasting, and I was like, she said,
that's really
and I'm like,
cool.
What is this? And we tasted it. Kevin and I looked at each other and was like, this is insane.
Wow.
So again, these are the creatives, right?
Yeah.
So it's nothing to us to bring her in as we're doing things, because it's very natural. Like she is the brand, and we have other bartenders and mixologists from Frank Mills in DC to just it's an ecosystem of folks who we started by having very organic relationships with that became advocates to, they're part of the family. They are part of the Blackleaf community. And we pay homage to them every day, because again, without them, there is no us.
I don't know if you guys have time, but before you go back home, the Clover Club on Smith Street is one of the best cocktail places in New York
check it out.
City. Yeah,
We gotta check it out.
Yeah, you
absolutely.
gotta connect there.
Little shout
yeah.
out.
Yeah, little shout out to Clever Club.
Right.
How do partnerships with brands like Chambord and organizations like Organic Trade Association align with your long-term vision?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start with the organic trade. That was, again, no pun intended, but a very organic situation where it was a tasting that we were doing, and one of the ladies there, who was sort of the operations head, she came by and she was gravitated towards the making organic sexy, right? Because, if you think about what their mission is, it's to also make organic, more popular, right? So we connected. She loved the liquid. And it just became this support where, she was like, hey, I'm going to Expo West, like these different conferences, come through, we'll sponsor you. And then we did a couple of years back, for National Organic Month, we did a zero waste competition and they sponsored and supported that. So it was, again, very organic, but it made sense because we aligned on vision. So that's, as far as it relates to that. And then obviously with the Chambord situation.
Yeah. So the Chambord partnership, it was literally, again, another one of those moments where it just made sense, So it was the Summer Olympics. They were in Paris, in France.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we were sitting, Kevin and I were talking about, hey, the Olympics are coming up. We should do something special in the cities. And literally it was like an aha moment. So, okay, let's come up with a cocktail. Summer Olympics in France, French martini. Oh, French martini uses vodka. We have a French vodka. It also uses raspberry liqueur. Chambord is a French raspberry liqueur. The French martini, that's it.
It was born.
So, we literally sat down and thought about it, and we should be in all the sports bars and all of the French restaurants, and built out this ecosystem in Atlanta and DC to trial it. Reached out to the team at Brown-Forman who owns Chambord. They loved the idea. They said, I'm in. So going back to your other question about the bartending community, we said, let's elevate this. So we actually worked with some local hospitality companies, and we created a French martini mixology competition where we had local bartenders come in and do their riff on a French martini.
That's cool.
So not even just having your traditional French martinis, they were doing fat wash martinis, and Chambord loved it. So then we talked to the corporate team and they said, hey, this is excellent. Let's see how we can do something on a national scale. So again, I think the word of the day is gonna be organic. It literally happened. It literally happened organically, but it made the most sense. And it was an amazing success.
That's great.
That's very cool. I want one.
What does it mean to build brand love glass by glass, moment by moment?
Yeah, it's something where, part and parcel of what we do is, at the end of the day, it's a vodka, right? It's something that is enjoyed in numerous moments. So we're a part of moments, right? So we're constantly, sharing the brand, and it's special to be able to be in those, again, moments that people share, right? And yeah, I'd say it's really just kind of what we do as a brand, just connecting with people, sharing it over an amazing drink.
And those moments aren't mass produced.
Yeah.
So glass by glass, situation by situation, you know what I mean? There's opportunities to get into those moments, whether it's a celebration or a long time and someone is just really trying to, decompress for the day. If we win them over in those moments, collectively, those moments add up to something bigger.
Amazing. Black ownership in spirits remains incredibly rare. When did Blackleaf become bigger than vodka for you guys?
Yeah, so I think that I would say happened early on in kind of our partnership, where initially it was just, let's put our magic out there, product excellence, let's do this. And then you realize, again, going back to the stats in the industry and going back to what I said initially about,
you said this,
who makes these brands hot, right? Mm-hmm. So it really became something that it became bigger than just a product. It became bigger than just a business. It was, if we are able to do this right, the inspiration, right? The barriers that we break down. And I know our mindset, we're built as we're breaking them down, we're leaving them broken so those after us can come through,
Yeah.
right? So it became something where we need to win, because by us doing that, it shows so many other people that they too can do the same thing. And even beyond spirits, right? It could be tech. Like, you could do anything you put your mind to. You just have to apply, excellent execution, some real strategic thinking up front, and you can accomplish anything and build your dream as big as you want it to be.
That's great. Follow up for you, Monté.
Yeah.
How do you balance being symbols of representation while still being judged purely on excellence?
So I'd say this. I'd answer that this way. At the end of the day, we still need to always lead with quality. There's a misconception, a stigma, if you will, that Black-owned brands are less than. Whether people want to admit it or not, it's a stigma. So if we lead with quality, if we have a better product, you've already won to a degree, right? The fact that we're Black-owned and you have that level of excellence that we're aspiring to demonstrate is, to me, the icing on the cake. It's something that you're saying, you know what? Let's even break down the stigma so that when people are looking for the best, it's not supporting you because you're Black-owned. It's because you have the best product out there, and people start to then associate excellence with the product.
Right.
And that product just happens to also be by people of color, and that's important. But we always lead with quality, because at the end of the day, that's what will keep people,
Yeah. How does mentorship through initiatives like Nearest and Jack factor into how you define success?
Yeah, I mean, that's been very helpful. So in that program, we worked a lot with Brown Foreman. So again, going back to, we had an idea that made sense. We were able to tap in because of that relationship to be able to execute, right? And they've been helpful, at one point we were considering changing distributors. So rather than starting to call every distributor, you can kind of go to people that who have your best interest at heart, who are willing to support and make an intro. So it helps, being able to, and I always say mentorship it's a shortcut, because you could take years just learning something, right? Or you could have a phone call, someone who's been there, done that, can say, hey, you know what, if you did this slightly differently, or this is what you're trying to do, let me go ahead and make an intro. That'll just shorten everything.
Yeah.
So it's very important for growth. And I think people should always seek out mentorship.
And having access to their various teams, right? So whether it's, again, talking to the Sean Board team, or talking to the marketing team, or even talking to the M&A team, talking about, hey, when you're looking at brands, how do you know a brand is quote unquote hot, and then how we can reverse engineer those things to make us a hot brand, So like, really having that access has been invaluable.
Well, and also you were talking about leaving the barriers broken down.
Right.
I'm sure at some point you guys are going to be the call.
Right. No,
that will shortcut the next.
And we do it right now.
Yeah,
right?
I believe that.
Whenever we have, we are constantly talking to people in the network. So always willing to support, because I think that's important.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Expansion into markets like North Carolina marks a new chapter for you guys. How do you decide when the brand is ready to scale?
Yeah, so it's a few things that we look at, and I'll maybe I think we think about it, again, reverse engineer it. So you can build a brand that's everywhere and do it fast and fail, right? It's very important to really use your backyard as that proving ground, that stomping ground, to understand what works, what should you do a little more of, what should you do a little less of.
Yep.
Then you rinse and repeat, right? So when we're looking at expansion, it's never about being somewhere because we can. It's about being somewhere because we should be, right? So you start to break it down a bit. So
that's so cool.
Kevin's in DC. I'm in Atlanta.
It's all organic.
So proximity wise, North Carolina logistically makes sense, because a small team, we can get some coverage if we need to. So you just literally start breaking down layers. Then you start looking at, okay, what is the opportunity when you look at our brand? So we have an organic brand, we have a vodka, it's a luxury brand. It attracts these people. It's black owned. It's great in craft cocktails, so on and so forth. And you start looking at data and you look at indices. The indices says, okay, here are the cities where people in this space will support these type of brands. And this is where craft cocktail culture lives. And these groups look for organic. And you start to break those indices down and you map it out. And literally you have a map.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you start to say, okay, if it's time to move the product to test it out, where should we go? And you look at that map. So North Carolina, Charlotte in particular, made a lot of sense. So we started by going to a trade show where the entire state of North Carolina had sent because it's a control state, they sent all of their heads of the different ABC collectives, and there was a massive interest in the brand. So that's another check mark. Okay, there's interest, you know? So then the timing became right because we did the due diligence to map out where we should go next, where was the interest, and we pulled the trigger, and it was a great, successful launch.
That's great. So what excites you more right now? Geographic growth, deeper cultural integration, or future product innovation?
I would say depth, right? Depth in or owning our backyard is right now what excites us the most. Yeah. Because, you know I love product development, so I could be doing that all day, every day. But that time will come. And so right now, if we're able to own us and not even expand with geographic growth, but really just getting entrenched where it's like, I'm in 1,000 or 10,000 accounts in the markets that we're in. Blackleaf is synonymous with, vodka, right? It's the call. That's really what we're driving for and kind of what gets us excited now.
I feel like there's a lot of wisdom in that because it's never been, easier to get around. And people will come through and they'll be like, what, you don't know this? Right. And then they take it home.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How do you ensure Blackleaf feels intentional and special even as it becomes more widely available?
Yeah,
That's some great questions.
It's I think the brand is so specific, right? Because we have our big product idea, again, making organic sexy, our big brand idea, laid back luxury. So that is what we're building, right? So it's, we just have to make sure we don't lose our way. But if those two things remain, then as we grow and expand, that is really what we're shipping out to the world. Now we need to make sure that we put the guardrails in there. So those will be growth challenges that we'll face when we do get to that point. But it's always, how do we make sure that we get back to making organic sexy, entrenched in there as a sustainability and all those things, laid back luxury with, making sure we're not pretentious, but the high quality is still there. So it's really just staying true to who we are and making sure we don't lose our way.
And if I could add to that one as well, for us, we always are building a purpose-led brand, right? So our purpose centers around celebrating life in the human spirit and not deviating from what our purpose is. So when we're approached by potential collaborations or different partnerships, it might be what we would need at the time, but it might not be what the brand is about. And it's okay with saying no. That's a full sentence, right? And being true to the brand, being true to the brand's purpose is going to be very critical for us building an authentic brand that people really can relate to and connect with and understand it. It's bigger than the liquid. We're building something purposeful.
Have you had opportunities that come up that you're like, this would be awesome, but it's not right?
We have.
Yeah.
We absolutely have.
Yeah.
When people talk about Blackleaf 10 or 20 years from now, what do you hope they say you changed?
I think one, independent brand had the vision and they went ahead and created a world-class product. And then two guys were able, with the support of a community, were able to steward it to be one of the next leading brands. And I just want that to inspire everybody. That because ultimately for me, it goes back to just dreaming, right? I think if you never lose that muscle, you develop that muscle, you continue to dream, that is just the beauty of life. So anything that we could do to encourage that, to inspire that, is what we're all about. And I hope that's the legacy that we leave, that you could dream anything into existence, apply hard work, and you can actually bring it to fruition.
That's why we're doing this
Yeah.
whole podcast, is because we want to hear stories like you that inspire other people.
Right.
What part of this story still feels surreal?
Those bottles are sitting in front of the table. It really, like for me, going back to now the category of vodka, a lot of times people think of vodka as, they think about the old college days where they were shooting a bunch of garbage,
Yep.
and we actually have a good vodka. That's
I believe the
different.
brand for me was Pop Off.
See, that's
Jeez.
so on one end, yeah, that's scary.
It's old school. Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah.
But on one end, for me, it's surreal that we actually created a really good vodka.
Yeah.
You know, that in itself is surreal. And then on the other part is how we're changing I can't to I can about moving in these spaces.
Yeah. The dream thing as a
Yeah.
legacy is massive.
Yeah.
That's everything. That's life.
Yeah.
What are you most proud of, not as founders, but as men building something that didn't exist before?
So I don't know if this is going to fully answer that question, but about a week or so ago, my 13-year-old daughter came to me with a school project. And the school project was to interview an entrepreneur. And she wanted to interview me.
Oh,
And I had that exact same response. Now,
we're girl dads.
Yeah, I have a 13-year-old daughter who literally just wrote an essay about America's problem is that we've lost the ability to dream.
Yeah.
And I was reading this like 2 nights ago. I'm sorry.
No,
this is
no,
your story,
this
but
is-
you're speaking to me.
this is my 13-year-old daughter.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
literally my 13-year-old
Yeah,
daughter.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
that in itself was like, I am doing something right.
Right.
This path is inspirational. She said she wants to be an entrepreneur. And being a girl dad is one of those things where, especially being a girl dad, because I don't want to say it's not the same for boy dads, but especially for girl dads, being a presence in their life and being an inspiration for something that may become them not thinking about, hey, I want to go work for someone else. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. But growing out, I'm building her to be a boss. And, you know, for me, I cannot fail
Yeah.
because it's about showing her what success looks like, you know.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
God,
I zoned
that's
out a
deep,
minute.
man.
I'm
That's
sorry.
very
Yeah,
deep.
that's beautiful.
It's the best. No, it's the best. What else are we here to do?
Right.
We have a short
Exactly.
blip on this planet. Let's get on with it. Let's get it.
All right, so we're going into our lightning round.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Okay, you each can answer as you will.
All right.
Your go-to Blackleaf cocktail.
Blackleaf and tonic.
I'm simple. We have a pineapple mule, so I'll just do that.
I love a mule.
Yeah, mule is the best.
One word that defines your partnership, and you can each take this if you want.
Success.
Good energy.
I was gonna say,
That's
don't
2
say
words.
organic. That's off the table now.
That's 2
We
words,
take
but
that
good
off the
energy.
yeah.
One word that defines Blackleaf today.
Ambition.
Right.
One word that defines its future.
Undeniable.
Now. Future is now. We're not waiting.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a tradition where the spirit that was interviewed before you leaves a question for you.
Oh,
And you
that's
leave one
love.
for
I
the
like
next.
that. I
You
like
leave
that.
okay.
I
one
like
for
that.
the next.
Yeah.
And the question comes from Kate Lotz at Heaven Hill,
Yeah.
Okay.
co-president of Heaven Hill. What is your best playbook for how to navigate the next 3 years of our industry?
I'd say stick to the basics. You know, there's tried and true things. We've talked a lot about owning your backyard.
Yeah. The deep roots.
You know, we know what works. Don't chase the shiny objects. Just focus. because it's working. So just do more of that. When things, when you start scaling, it's very easy to get distracted, but just do what got you here. Just keep doing it. And if anything, just, zero in and just be more determined in that.
And
Focus.
There you go. Exactly.
I was going to say, look at the trends, look at the historical data, then throw it out the window and trust your instincts.
It occurs to me that the people, we've done a bunch of these now. The people that are sitting in this chair, they are all purpose-driven. They're not scale-driven. They're not seeing dollar signs. They all have a purpose. This is just keeps coming up over and over and over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's important.
Okay, a question for the next brand.
Yeah.
It can be anything.
Yeah.
I'm processing.
Take a moment.
Oh man, that's a good one. I think the natural thing, especially when I talk to other founders, it's always, what keeps you up at night, right? So I think, but that's also it's a very basic question.
No, it's a good one though.
It's a very real question.
Yeah,
it
because
sure
you get
is.
to so much more. Because it's easy when you meet with people and it's like, oh, how's everything going? And surface level, oh, it's okay. When you ask that, it all causes someone to pause and take a step back, and actually you start getting into what's really going on and how you could potentially support
I
and
ask
help.
that question at the end of most meetings. I'm like, what are you most concerned about right now?
Right.
Right? Because it's sometimes it's always there,
Right.
but it sometimes falls into the background. So I think that's really relevant.
And especially now for the spirits industry where, there's so much chatter around people drinking less and
Right.
this. It's like, just very curious how people are thinking. We have a take on it where it's like people are drinking less, but they're drinking better. So, we're right in line. But yeah, just I'll be curious to know what keeps them up at night.
Great.
Mine is a bit of a three-parter,
Yeah. Oh,
and it's a piggyback off of our question.
Okay.
Right? So, somewhat, where do you see yourself in 3 years? What's that roadmap look like to get there? And why aren't you doing the things in that roadmap now? So that
great.
those 3 years could actually be now.
okay. Great. Love it. Kevin, Monté, this has been such a pleasure.
Thank you guys so much.
thank you for having
Congratulations
us.
on all your success.
Appreciate it.
It's
Thanks
just-
for having us.
I can't wait to taste it.
Thank you for having us for sure.
Yeah,
This was
absolutely.
incredible.
Yeah.
What an incredible conversation. Kevin and Monté's story captures what proof of concept is all about: vision, conviction, and the courage to build something new without waiting for permission.
Blackleaf Organic Vodka shows what's possible when purpose meets precision. This is a brand built not just on great liquid, but on intention, redefining luxury, sustainability, and representation in a category that doesn't often change easily.
A huge thank you to Kevin and Monté for sharing their time, their honesty, and the values that continue to shape Blackleaf, from the way it's made to the way it shows up in culture, community, and competition.
If you enjoyed this episode, we encourage you to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and follow the Tasting Alliance on Instagram for updates on the world's top spirits and the people pushing the industry forward. A special thank you to the Tasting Alliance team: Amanda, Maddie, Chloe, Chelsea, Annabelle, and Amanda M., without whom none of this would be possible.
We'll be back with another story of innovation, resilience, and the belief that an idea, when executed with integrity, can truly change the game. Because proof of concept isn't just about what's in the glass. It's about the people bold enough to imagine something better. Until then, please drink responsibly. I'm Toby Blue.
And I'm Jason Rabinowitz. Thanks for listening.
And we'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Before we wrap, one quick note for our listeners. If you enjoyed hearing Kevin and Monté's story, there's more to come.
The full tasting portion of Blackleaf Organic Vodka, where we break down the nose, palate, and finish, will be dropping right here on the Proof of Concept feed in just 2 weeks.
So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it, and we'll see you back then for a deeper dive into what's in the glass.